which is, let me just end the transcript really quick.
Did you record? Did you start already?
Yes. Okay, hello. Welcome to this tutorial on how to register your products. I am going to share my screen. My name is Janae. I'm going to share my screen, and we've got Heather here. We're from the CCB, and we are just going to do our best to show you how to first register a product, amend a product, and renew a product. So let me share my screen. So you're going to go to your licensing portal, and that is where you're going to start. Let's get signed in here. It takes a second. Okay, and as you see, you come in and you see your existing licenses. We're worried about product registration in particular here. So I am going to scroll down for product registrations, existing licensees only. This is, you can put in a product to register if you don't have a license, but it won't be registered. It'll just kind of sit in the system. So these are the existing PR that I have. And if I want to try something different, apply for a product registration, then I can do so over here. So, the test account that I'm working with is a licensed establishment. So we are going to go ahead and apply. So what you're doing is you are submitting and applying for your product to become registered. Your product is not automatically registered when you go through this process. So you want to put in your submission number. You want to make sure it's the right one. If this number that comes up isn't correct, if you're not seeing that it says applied for indoor cultivator, tier 1 small cultivator, and the issued, everything like that. If that information isn't correct, definitely click out and put in a new number and try again. But for our purposes here, this is correct. So I'm going to go ahead and click next. Then you're putting in your business establishment name. Of course, mine comes right up. Again, if it's not right, you just go back and search until you find the right one that you can click on that fills in just like this. And if you want to put in a new business establishment name, we've got this right here. But that is not what we're covering here today. So you can click Save and Next. And then I am just going to put in a random location and move forward. So here is where you start to really get into the details. You're going to tell us everything that we need to know about your product. So let's say that we are trying to register one of the simpler products, which is you're just registering a strain of flower. So let's say pink test. So we're testing and we're gonna mark it as flower. Now we're gonna give us our under product type flower, pre-roll and flower. Something to be aware of is that if you are doing pre-rolls or jarred flower of the same strain, you actually do not need two separate registrations for that. The pre-rolls and the jarred flower can be under the same registration. You would just need to put the packaging for information for both of those. And if there's any label differences, you would put the label, different labels as well. But you do not need two separate registrations for that. Unfortunately, we've seen some folks have problems with that. So here you're going to pull up the potency test result you have. You're going to say that you are reporting your test result in whatever format that the test gave you. Right here, we're going to say percentage because that's normally what we see. Here, I'm just going to put in zeros for everything, but basically you just find where the test says this little label. So THCA, THC, THCV, and give it and put in the numbers that you need. If it is ND, none detected, or 0, none detected, you can just put in a 0 and it'll move forward with giving this a 0.00. And let me just put in a 1 for some other things here. It looks like it went red because I clicked enter and it was not going to let me move forward without putting this information in. So you absolutely have to get all this information put in. And what's wonderful is that you can just put in the number and it'll automatically put it into uh, decimals. And so I'm going to say 0 for these because we don't want that. Oops, missed one. So we've got all of our potency testing in, put in, and then we're going to go with packaging. Is this packaging child resistant? Now, child resistant packaging is something that is, I believe that is certified. You can certify something child resistant. So if the link that you're using to buy your packaging doesn't say certified child resistant tops, child resistant jar, then you will not mark it as child resistant. Child deterrent, so let's just say we have something like that, we'll mark it as a no. If it is child resistant, then it is automatically child deterrent. Child deterrent is lower than child resistant. So if it's child resistant, then child deterrent is already included under that. Um, Child deterrent just means that it's difficult for a child under the age of 5 to access, that they couldn't get to it very quickly, essentially. And that is what flour is required to have, but for products such as edibles, gummies, beverages, they are required to be fully child resistant. However, flour can just be child deterrent, and you can make it child resistant if you'd like. Now, we want to keep track of everything that's under a packaging waiver because the packaging waivers are generally only good for a year and they do change every year. So you want to make sure that you mark if you have something under a plastic waiver, so that you know you're aware of if you need to change your packaging if any of the waivers expire, change, anything like that. So let's
Where
say. Mhm.
where would people find on where would they find if their package was under a waiver or not? Where would they find that information?
Yeah. Absolutely. So let's hop over to a new tab and let's go to the CCB website and let's see. Hold on. When you scroll down here, you're going to go to guidance. And under guidance, there are a lot of great things that you can find. You can find guidance on what to do if you want to do bulk flour. There's guidance on your action limits on your lab tests, labeling, uh, lab testing, inventory tracking, all kinds of information. But right now, what we are looking for is the approved packaging waivers. Let me find that one. Oh, advertising is up here as well. Packaging, approved packaging waivers. So you just open this in a new tab. And you'll see that, first of all, we up here at the top, we've got some wonderful packaging that has already been approved to use that is plastic free. And a lot of it is child resistant as well, or child deterrent. Then we've got our categorical waivers. So this is talking about product types, not necessarily specific products. So it tells you what it is approved for. Is it approved for flour, tinctures, etc.? And then what it is, the packaging description, and then the waiver. So as you can see, all of these, today we're recording this in December 2023, and all of these waivers stop in 2024 because they only get renewed for about a year. Um, then we have the waivers for specific products. And once again, they're waived for about a year. And if something is not going to be renewed, you are made aware so that way you're able to plan ahead. But you're able to see what they're renewed for. We've got a lot of specific things for drinks or solid concentrates, or liquid concentrates, as you can see. So this is where you can find all that information on our guidance page. For pre-qualification, there also is a one-pager that lists as much information as we could pack into one page about PR. So you will be able to see that as well. So if you check on that page, you'll see whether or not you're under a waiver, or you'll probably have known when you purchase your packaging. Something that people often forget is that many times, even if you just get a glass jar and a screw top lid for your flour, Many of them have liners that are plastisol or foam, and those are going to be under the waiver because as you can see here, it's a product type. Um, let's see, categorical waivers. Foam pressure seal jar or bottle cap liners for cannabis flower and cannabis products. So those liners for those jars are often under a waiver. So that's something to be aware of if you are doing just a simple screw top jar. Okay. So we'll say that it is under a waiver because you're just doing jars with those foam liners. Now, is this product white labeled? White labeling essentially means that one person cultivated it, but another person, say a retailer or wholesaler, is selling it under with their brand name on top. So think of it as um, we painted the fence white or we painted the label white and we wrote a new name on top. You're totally allowed to do that. You know, if you're a retailer that's registering product, you're totally allowed to do that. It is just needed. It does need to be. We need to be aware of if something is white labeled, because otherwise, you will get a response back from the PR team asking, "Oh, well, there's a different name on the test results than there is on the label. We're a little confused. We think something might be going on." So make sure that you say if your product is white labeled, we'll say that ours isn't. Um, you always want to have the required warnings on your label, so it does need that. An ingredient list is not needed for flower, but it is needed for cannabis product. So it completely depends on which one you're dealing with, whether or not you are going to answer this question. So let's say no, because we're dealing with flower. White labeled out of state, we'll say no. That is something to get more into kind of on the licensing side of things, if I'm aware, if I'm thinking correctly. But basically, if it's white label out of state, that was cultivated out of state, and someone here licensed here would be selling that. That's what that would mean. That generally doesn't happen. I personally have not seen anything come through with that. Um, so it's not a common thing. Um, and your label has to have the THC content. This is something that you can find in the labeling guidance. And I'm going to just go ahead and say yes, because you absolutely need that. And then you're going to attest under penalty of perjury that the information you have provided is true and correct, and move on to the next page. Okay, now here is where you will upload your documents. You are able to upload a lot of different type of documents, like PDFs and I believe some Word and text documents are allowed as well, but you'll see that you can upload as many files as you would like under each label. This helps us on our end when we are looking at your PR, when we're looking at your submission, for us to determine that document name is going to be listed. So if we click on something that says link to text of packaging and it's a label, it's no big deal, but it just helps everything be a little more organized if you put everything in the right little bucket. So we've got your certificate of analysis, otherwise known as a COA or a test result. And we've got another test result available here, I guess, just so that we are covering all of our bases. And this is where you would put your packaging. You would want to put clear pictures of your packaging and or a link. A link is really helpful for us to be able to make sure that it's child resistant if you're saying it's child resistant. And then a clear picture of your label with all of the required parts. Let me see if I'm able to even put this through without them. You are. So you are able to put it through without any documents, which we have seen that before. The only way for you to edit it once you submit it is if we review it and say that it's been incomplete, and that can take 15 to 30 days. So it's really best to try and get all the information in, at the time that you submit it. Now here you're able to pay online, pay by check, or cash. My understanding, Heather, do you know, are we letting people pay with cash? My understanding is that people can't do that right now.
So in order to pay by cash, you need to reach out to the licensing team to make an
Okay.
appointment to schedule a time to come in and pay cash in the
Okay.
office.
Perfect. Perfect. So that's what you would need to do to pay cash. For a check, you can just mail that in, and obviously, if we were to click online, you would be taken to the next page and be able to pay online. But we're going to click check for now. You would send that over to our offices in Montpelier, and then even if you have everything in place and everything is good, um, you your product wouldn't become registered until that check comes in and is input into the system. So we'll click pay now and success. So it's been submitted successfully. And then it takes us back to our product registrations, and we're going to see the actions we can take with it. We're going to see its name and that it's an original, not an amendment or renewal, what it is, and you'll even get an email instantly telling you um, that you just submitted a product and then it just came through. And that email is also going to tell you that it's going to take 15 to 30 days for us to get back to you on that. Um, so it's got your submission number, and most importantly for you to see is its status. If it says submitted, then that means that we haven't done anything to it yet. So if it's in the stage of submitted, if you realize, oh man, I forgot to add something. Unfortunately, you can't add anything while it's in the submitted stage. It would need to be in the incomplete stage for you to add that. Um, so basically at this point you are just waiting that 15 to 30 days to see if you to see if you get an incomplete, if there's something wrong, or if there is anything else that is needed for your PR to go through. So the next thing we're going to look at is what to do if you get back that your PR is incomplete. Okay, let's see.